Okay guys, I'm going to try to give you a very quick 3 minutes or less introduction to how to make your house in tinkercad. So first thing is I do want you to bring in pictures of your house. You can start without them, but very early on I want you to have pictures and try to get them from all sides of your house so you can use that to help design. Because one of the keys is you want to be sure that your tinkercad house design is proportional to your actual house, and you kind of need pictures in order to be sure to do that. And then when you go to design your house, I'm going to use this little WGMS Our House one here. I know that's simple, but it'll do for now. You want to try to keep things proportional, as I mentioned. So what you do is you break your house into geometric parts. So I see a box and a roof piece here for this. So if I go into tinkercad, I would bring out a box. And if I size my box and it looks something like this, and then I went back to my picture, I might say, well, this is kind of too tall and skinny for what this looks like here. This is more of equal on all sides. So in that case, like a cube shape for this would be better. Then I'm going to go ahead and put a roof piece on here, and the easiest thing to do is to put on a work plane in order to do that, and then resize the roof to fit. You might use your align tools to get things where you want them. So if things aren't lined up, you select them, use align and align their centers, and you should be good to go. If it doesn't quite match up, you can change the sizes, things like that. And again, you'd want to put things in proportion. If I put a roof on like this and then went and looked at my picture, I might say, well, this roof is not peaked quite that high, so I would make that adjustment there. Okay? Now, adding doors and windows, there's two ways to do that, and neither one is right and neither one is wrong. You just decide what works for you. So one way to do it is to just bring out a shape. And so I'll just use another box shape, and let's say this is going to be a door that I'm going to put into my house right here. And what you can do is put the shape in, and I call it a bump out, and you can have it just stick out just a tiny little bit right there. So you can see how it bumps out just a little bit with that. So that's one way you can do that. So you can do that for doors or windows. The other way is, instead of using a shape, is to use a hole. So I'll make this, whoops, I didn't actually mean to do that. So I'll make this shape a hole. And then I would, instead of putting it in real far, I would only put it in a couple of millimeters and then group it. And now it will cut that out. And again, notice how I didn't put it in too far. Just a couple millimeters is good. Now the only thing that and there's no right way to do it. You can bump out or cut out, either one is good. But what I'm pretty particular about is when you go ahead then and start doing other shapes. So if you're doing cutouts, in this case, so let's say I'm going to put a window in now. One thing I do not want to see you do, for example, is to have one shape that's only in a couple millimeters and then another shape, and I'll group this together and do it, and that one's in really deep. Those don't really match. So please try to keep that consistent in whatever that you do. The other thing I want to point out is, if we look at my picture, you can see how there's like an overhang. A lot of houses have these eaves. And it's a little bit more complicated how to do that, but I'll be happy to sit with you and show you how to do it if just kind of putting these regular shapes on top does not work. And then finally, I know this one is really simple and your houses are going to be more complex. So you're going to have to get creative with some shapes on your house. You might have like a porch on the side of your house that's kind of, for example, curved or something like that, like some sort of curved cutout in some part of your house. So you don't really have a shape for that, so you're going to have to try to make it yourself by combining holes and shapes together and cutting out certain things to get kind of what you want to the closest you can as your house picture. Okay? All right, I didn't quite make my 3 minutes or less. This took almost 4 minutes, but I'm done, and you should be able to get started on your house now. Let me know if you need any help.